Perfect.
All the youngins in my hood popping perks now. Getting high to get by, it's getting worse now. You gotta tell them put them guns and them perks down. Them new jails got 10 yards in them, and that's your first down. And I ain't coming to preach. I just had to say something, cause I'm the one with the reach. Youngin got a quarter ounce, he trying to
All right. Welcome to another episode of Blvdave TV. I am your host, Old Man Logan.
Boy King B.
It's the Kid Gas Station P.
All right. And we got a special guest in here today. We got the AAU head basketball coach of Illinois Speed, Mr. Brandon Brown. How are you doing, sir?
What's going on, fellas? Appreciate y'all for having me.
Thank you for coming and being on Blvdave TV, man.
It's good to be here. Big fan of the show. Like what you guys are doing.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
What's up?
Alrighty, so Brandon, we got a couple of questions for you, sir. We're gonna go ahead and get into them. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. We're gonna start off with, what's your basketball background?
Okay, so man, I started playing basketball at a young age. It was introduced to me through my grandfather, real young. My uncle, he was actually coaching my uncle's par district team. I was probably like 5-6 years old at the time, but I just kind of fell in love with the game. Didn't really have much instruction until probably I was like in 6th grade. So it was just pretty much passion, playing outside, just getting better on my own, watching different movies, He Got Game and things of that nature. And I just kind of picked it up and ran with it. From there, man, I played AAU basketball pretty much my whole life. Played at home with Flossmoor. I was there for 4 years. From there, I went to a prep school. I was at the prep school for a year, came back, went to Moraine Valley. The biggest thing with me was always, grades. I didn't have to balance. I always had the passion for basketball, but didn't necessarily have to balance when it came to education. And it wasn't really pushed in my household from my parents, maybe my grandparents, but not necessarily my parents. So
you think that was a discipline thing?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like, when you have a parent that didn't necessarily excel in school, they don't necessarily understand the impact, or you would think, that they would understand, but,
right.
She didn't necessarily push it on me, as she should have, and, I'm not blaming her for that, but at the same token, I do think it did have an impact with my basketball career. So from being at Moraine Valley, I was there for 2 years, played in Moraine Valley. I had the opportunity to go play at Roosevelt University downtown. So by that point, man, I've been playing basketball my whole life, got burnt out from it. So I just kind of stepped away from the game, became a regular student. I probably didn't touch a basketball maybe for like 2 or 3 years, from that. Just from, the politics to the education, it took a toll on me. Where a lot of people, if you have that structure in regards to education, the road's a little easier for you. For me, the road was tough. So, after enduring that for so long, I was just, I just kind of stepped away from it. And I really didn't get back into it, until I started working with my son when he was about 4 and 5 years old. And that really, got me back to the game. And ever since then, I've been running with it, just working with him for a few years, and then I got into coaching from there.
Okay. So you say you got into it, real young, like around the same age as when your son did. What was it that that drew you into it? Like, what built that love for the game?
Yeah, man, just seeing it. And I think that's the difference from kids now. I mean, it's so like 5-6 years old, I need a trainer. Where me, man, it was just kind of like seeing it. I developed that natural passion for it. So I mean, I have a younger son now. He's 1, and he's been around the game since he was a few weeks old. And just him seeing it, Whereas my older son, it was kind of me pushing it on him, like, hey, we going to the gym, work out, you know, and then he kind of developed it from there. Right. Whereas my youngest son, he's in the gym, he's seeing it now, you know, you have a toy and a ball, he's going to grab a ball because that's what he's accustomed to, even at 1, you know. Right. So and that was kind of me too, you know, just seeing my uncle do it, my grandfather work with my uncle, and, you know, them just having that bond, it just kind of drew me to it.
Okay. So what were some of the NBA players you idolized growing up?
Man, really, AI. AI was big. AI, of course, being from Chicago, MJ, you know, but really AI, I think me being a guard and the way that he did it and the swag that he did it with, you know, it kind of drew me to him, you know, as a personality, but also a player, you know, being, you know, probably pound for pound, you know, one of the best players to ever do it.
Right. Okay.
AI, man. I was just thinking about AI when you was talking about it, man. Like, he get respect, but I don't know if he get the respect he should get all the time.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He is very influential to a lot of people that played the game of basketball, and it just doesn't seem like he gets that. You know what I mean? Like, we hold Jordan in such high regard, but, you know, like, it's others in there too that,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Because
can
AI
have
changed it
regard.
as well to me. Because us growing up, or me growing up, seeing him, it's like I wanted the sleeve, I wanted the Reeboks, and you know, he did change the game.
Like a lot of things in basketball changed because of him.
Because of him, yeah, too. Yeah.
Like they implemented the dress code because he was coming in there and iced out chain, white tee.
The whole swag changed.
You know, it's like, oh, we can't have that. You got to put on a suit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, probably the two most the two most people, or the two people that had the most influence on the game would have been AI and Mike. If you look at the NBA today, you know, those are, or that's what you see. You know, you see Mike, you see AI, you know, and now they might not understand it, the guys that are in the league now, but even the kids today, like that whole swag is from AI.
Yeah.
Right now, I think the guys that are in the league are a reflection of AI. I think the next wave would be a reflection of Steph.
Yeah, yep.
Cats pulling up from half.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
So,
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you feel like you're a better coach or player?
Man, honestly, I feel like I'm a better coach. You know, just going through it as a player, dealing with different coaches. You know, I kind of know, you know, what's a good coach, what's a bad coach, what I didn't like. And as a player, you know, you kind of go through it with the unknown. Like you're just kind of going through it, not knowing exactly you know what to do, when to do it. You're just kind of going through it as a coach. You know, I went through it as a player. I had coaches. You know, I had mentors. So now, you know, I'm taking all of those resources, and I'm applying them to the kids.
Cool. So, you mentioned how AI was a big influence on you growing up. What are some of who are some of the players that you watch now as an adult and you're like wowed by their ability and whatnot?
Man, Steph, big time. Kyrie, you know, just to have a handle like he has. Brian, of course, you know, just to be that size and, you know, have that ability from the speed, athleticism.
Real quick, what's your take on Zion? Because they compare him to LeBron a lot.
Yeah.
So what do you think about him as he?
I still think it's a lot of untapped. It's raw talent there. Raw talent. I mean, he's extremely athletic, but Brian was raw, but he's not as raw as Zion. Zion's extremely raw. From an athletic standpoint, he's probably only like 6'6", you know. Right. So, but when he gets to the league, you know, for me, I think he'll be more of like a rich man Draymond Green, where he's undersized, but you know, he also has the athleticism to impact the game in another way. So I don't necessarily compare him to LeBron, but you know, from a physicality standpoint, I could definitely see it there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I was about to ask, what's your take, buddy? Zion's your guy right now.
He's my guy right now. Yeah. But if you get a chance to coach a dream team, who would you want as your dream team?
Man, so if we're looking at all the greats, if I had a point, I'm probably gonna go with Isaiah Thomas, Zeke. Okay. And we going from all the players that's played. At 2, you know, I'm definitely going with MJ. At the 3, I'm gonna go with Bron. At the 4, man.
Wait. Let's break down these choices.
Yeah.
So why are you picking Isaiah?
Isaiah, I mean, just again from a pure point guard and pound for pound, under 6 feet. You know, not too many cats was touching Isaiah. You know, and he was doing it when it was a different era. They was getting physical. Yeah. He was going to the paint, getting touched up. You know. Yeah.
He played with a broken leg too.
Yeah, big time. I mean, just that will that he has. I want that on my team all day. Yeah. And then Mike, I mean,
self-explanatory.
Right, exactly. Yep. Yeah, and then Brian, I mean, with Brian, you can throw him in any system and he's gonna be successful, and he's gonna make those around him successful. KG will probably be at the 4. Just again that influence, that impact that he's had on me, just seeing it. It's like, man, that passion, I want that.
Right.
I want that. And then at the 5, I'm gonna go Shaq. He's the most dominant big man to ever do it. You had guys that could score better, you had guys that could rebound better, but all in all, nobody was seeing Shaq in his prime.
Right.
Yeah.
Who was at 3?
Brian.
No cap.
I was going to ask about John Stockton, man. I heard this. I was listening to Brilliant Idiots, and Jamel Hill was on Breakfast Club not too long ago, and she brought up John Stockton in regards to why Isaiah had him induct him into the Hall of Fame as opposed to anybody else, and it was basically saying like Isaiah and John Stockton were like 2 of the best point guards ever. And I just was going to ask, like, do you kind of agree with that statement or disagree? Or
man, honestly, I didn't watch too much of John Stockton other than the finals, 97, 98. Outside of that, not too many people I know was watching Utah on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
In the 90s. But me playing basketball, AAU basketball with Jordan's kids, and I had the opportunity to meet with MJ and talk to him, and just how he talks about John Stockton and how they had to prepare. Respect right there. For someone of that magnitude to talk about John Stockton, to me, I was probably 17 years old at the time. Like, John Stockton, I'm, but for him to talk about John Stockton that way, I have nothing but respect for the guy.
Right.
Okay. That being said, how do you feel about the AAU system now as it stands? Yeah,
man, it hasn't changed too much from a grade school and under standpoint from when I played, but it's definitely different, at the high school level. Now everything is geared towards shoe companies. So if you're not sponsored, if your team isn't sponsored by a certain shoe company, then you're not going to get to play against certain players. Or you might have some of the top players not playing against each other because one team is sponsored by Under Armour, where the other team is sponsored by Adidas, and the other team is sponsored by Nike, and they all have their own circuits. So and it kind of takes away from that competitive edge. So, I mean, honestly, I do think, at some point we need to get back to everybody plays everybody. And now I think with that you have less bust, because now you done seen this cat, Zion Williams, go up against R.J. Barrett, early on. So now we know what it is. Or you're going to be liable for your actions playing AAU. Now you're not necessarily liable for those actions because you're playing against guys that don't belong on your level.
Right.
Whereas if we go back to the old system, now you're going to get a good game every night on the AAU circuit.
So let's stay here and talk about the development of players in the AAU circuit. So you got guys who've been playing AAU for 6, 7, 8 years. And then they go to college for 1 year, go to the league. How do you think AAU is preparing players to get to the league? Because to me it seems as if, they're just playing a lot of basketball. They're not really learning the game, per se.
Yeah, I agree. I think it needs to be a good balance. AAU, you're playing a lot of games. You might play 60, 70 games in the summer where you're not getting that same development. You're not putting in the same training as you would is if you took off, a month and dedicated that to the growth of your individual talent. So I definitely agree with that. I think it does need to be a balance, and it's also impacting injury. I feel like when you're playing 60, 70 games in the summer, there's a reason why you get to college, you're only playing 32 games.
Right.
Now as an adult, you're playing 82 games, but in AAU, you're playing 3 games in one day, and that's killing the body.
That's a lot, yeah.
Big time.
That's a lot.
But I don't think that AAU is really preparing the players for college. I think, nothing really prepares you for that level unless, one, you have that God-gifted ability to do it, or two, you've gone through it and you've seen it.
Right.
So, I mean, if you get that one and done, they're going to draft you based on your potential. They're not going to draft you based on, that 1 year. And certain players just don't fit the college system. So you look at someone like Cam Reddish at Duke. He's probably one of the best players in the country, but he's going to take the back seat to R.J. Barrett. He's going to take the back seat to Zion Williamson. Right. But that doesn't necessarily mean he won't be the better pro. But I do think that we also need to get back to that competitive edge of, I want to go to my team and, do what I'm going to do and compete. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, so, I mean, so since we're talking about Zion, so he's obviously been in the limelight for the last year or two. Do you think he has the ability to be the face of the league at one point?
Man, it's tough. It's still early on. I mean, right now it's a lot of athleticism. That's going to take you so far, but when you get to the league, you got to be able to create your own shot. And not saying that he can't, but we haven't seen it yet. We've seen it in spurts where, okay, he can get a bucket, But when you have R.J. Barrett there, when you have Cam Reddish there, now teams can't sit on you. Whereas you get to the league, you go to the Hawks, now you stuck. You stuck. You can't, you got to create. You got to be the man. So I think time would tell, but from a marketing standpoint, he can be, the biggest player in the league. But, from talent, and that's going to take time.
Right. Do you think Coach K is the best guy for the job to prepare him for that next level?
Well, that's tough because Coach K is only going to have him for 10 months.
Right.
So what can you really get out of a kid? And probably less than that because you think that the school season is from where they probably went to school in June. So they've been working out June, July, August, September, October. So that's 4 months. And then November, December, January, you're playing. February, March. Now you hit March, and as soon as those kids lose, you're going to the league. You're leaving school. You're not gonna be around Coach K. You're going to prepare for the draft. You're dropping out. So I mean, I wouldn't put all that weight on Coach K, but at the same token, I think he is the right person in that time frame to really get him to understand, what he's gonna be getting into.
Right.
So what made you want to get into coaching?
Man, honestly, just me dedicating my whole life to basketball. I wouldn't have done, my parents any justice. That they spent a lot of money, a lot of time in, me playing basketball, getting out to different camps, going on different trips, playing it pretty much all year long. And for them not to get anything out of that, I would have done it, a disservice. And then for me personally, I mean, man, again, just that passion, it never left. Even when, I didn't want to touch a basketball, I still wanted to be around the game in one way or another. And this is just kind of something I fell into, just working with my son. It's not something I was thinking at the time. I just wanted to get him better, but then I started to coach and I just kind of fell in love with it. And, I just had some success as a coach, or the kids, they had success, and me coaching them is just something that I'm really passionate about now.
All right, so if you could coach any college or NBA team, what team would it be, and what player would you like to coach the most?
Man, I'd probably go with the Celtics. The Celtics, the way that they're built. the job Brad Stevens has done with them, and then, the opportunity to coach Kyrie. He thinks the game of basketball at a whole nother level. Or even, you look at the Celtics when Rondo, Paul Pierce, KG, Ray Allen was there, just coaching Rondo, guys that can think basketball at a high level. That's interesting to me. Just to pick their brain and work hand to hand. Something like that would really intrigue me.
Cool. So, just tell us a little bit more about the Illinois Speed, man, and what you guys have accomplished and what you're looking for in the near future with the squad.
Yep. So, man, the program itself has won 2 national championships before I got there on the 9U level. We've won 7 straight AAU state championships. Last year, I had the opportunity to coach 8U and 9U. We won both of those. We finished, my 9U finished 10th in the country, went down to Orlando. We didn't have the success that we wanted, but anytime you can finish 10th in the country or place in a tournament like that and where you have to qualify, that was major for them.
That's real good.
And for the immediate future, it's, more so with me, it's all about the development. The wins, that's going to come. People see my team now, and, it's like, okay, did you find these players? No, I had these kids that are now in 4th grade. I had a lot of them since 1st grade, and when you see them play in 1st grade, you wouldn't be able to believe that, where they are now. And it's going to be the same thing in 7th grade. I'm not going to go out, and we're not going to go out and chase players. We're going to coach the kids that we have, and we're going to coach them up, and we're going to develop them. And that's always been my passion, and the passion of Illinois Speed as a program is, develop the kids first, and everything else is going to come with that.
Cool. Nice. The game LeVar Ball is doing with the high school kids, getting them into where they can possibly get paid what they think. How do you feel about it? Do you think that's a good thing, a good move?
Man, honestly, I think every situation isn't the best thing for everyone, right. So whereas the standard high school basketball might be a good situation for you, but coming from a different background, not necessarily having the resources, maybe, I get kicked out of school, that could be a good opportunity for me to be a positive citizen. Right. In the world, whereas because they're traveling, they're seeing different things, So again, I'm all for it, and what he has done with his boys, he's gotten them to this point. Do I agree with every single thing that he does? No, but, I think it comes from a positive place, and, he is changing the game, and, we're seeing something different that we haven't seen before, and he's challenging status quo, whereas, everyone else needed to fall in line. He's saying, no, we're going to do it this way. We're going to try something different. Whether it works or not, at least you try something different for those that don't necessarily have those same opportunities.
Cool.
Right. So if a parent wanted their child to participate in the Illinois Speed program, how would they go about signing up for it, and is it an expensive program for them to be a part of?
So, again, because we play AAU, it is a little bit on the high side in terms of the expense to travel and whatnot. But we also develop. So, we have programs set aside for kids that want to get into playing basketball, started out, and we just kind of work with them on the side and build that up. Honestly, with Illinois Speed, you have parents nowadays, or you have parents that have that mindset, I want my kids to play AAU. And that's not necessarily the best for most kids starting to play basketball. You need to get them in an environment where they can make mistakes. You need to get them in an environment where they can make decisions, because that confidence, once that sways, it's tough to rebuild. So you go play AAU, and you might not be ready for that environment. It's going to take you a long time to get to that level, whereas if you go do something, join our development program, which is, very cheap. And me personally, as a coach with Illinois Speed, I work with kids all the time, and I don't charge their parents anything. It's always been about the passion and wanting what's best for the kids. So to answer your question, I mean, from a development standpoint, wanting to get into it, it's something that we're open to depending on the parent and what they're looking for. Okay. But if you have a kid that, is a good talent and you feel that he needs a little more, whether he plays Park District now or, local travel basketball, that can get a little pricey. But at the same token, we do different fundraisers and whatnot. Right now we actually have our 50-50 raffle going on where 50% goes to the winner. I don't know if you guys have been to like Bulls games where you put the raffle in and 50% goes to the winner, 50% goes to the program. That's going to help the parents with travel expenses. And, I want the kids, or the kids get out and, they do different events to raise money, but also give back to the community. Right. So this Christmas, our plan is to go out to feed the needy. Just again, building that foundation for kids, not necessarily on the basketball court, but outside of basketball as well.
Nice. So let's stray away from the kids real quick and get to the big dogs. So what's your take on the league today, and what do you see that are like advantages or disadvantages with them being in the league?
No, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question? Or
what's your take on the league, and what do you think are the advantages and disadvantages
of the league? Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, the league as a whole, I think it's in a good place. I do think that from a competition standpoint, I mean, we already know what it's going to be. Golden State, no matter what happens during the regular season, every now and then we get something good to watch, but I do think, at some point I would like to see a balance to the league, where we're getting back into, that competitiveness of the league where you want guys to be the alpha, whereas, guys were on Kyrie at first about wanting to leave Cleveland, but I respect that. Go be the alpha. Go get your own team. You don't want to sit under LeBron when you feel like you can do, just as well and, give more to the team. But again, it's a place where we are now. I still watch it. But at the same token, we watch it all year long to see what we already know is going to happen. Golden State will be there.
Hoping for a change.
Exactly, yep. So I do think if KD leaves, or Draymond leaves, or Clay leaves, it will bring a new spark to the league and, something that we haven't seen in a little while.
And I actually think I interpreted that question wrong. The league, I was thinking NBA. It may have been the AAU league. So, you want to tell us the advantages and disadvantages of AAU basketball?
Yeah. Again, getting those games, I think the experience of AAU basketball, you can't really take that from the kids. I mean, the more games you play, the better you will be, just because you're seeing different things. And basketball in itself, changes every time you step on the court. You'll never see the same thing twice. The disadvantage of that, like I said, you don't necessarily have the opportunity to work on your game, or you're not necessarily competing because all of the best players are playing on the same team. Right. So and that hurts. That hurts down the line. As players begin to get older, they go to their school teams where now you have to be the man. You're not ready for that because you're used to playing with 3 or 4 guys that are just as good. It's not going to be that way, at school. It's kind of like when you go to open gym and you get the 5 best players playing on one team. It's like, you're not getting nothing out of it, Right. Whereas, when you go play on your own team in school, I think AAU may have a negative impact there.
What do you feel that a player needs in order to become a successful player towards college and the league?
Yep. I think, the foundation, well, college, first of all, that's education. Mm-hmm. For me, that goes hand in hand with basketball. I think a player needs to be able to create his own shot, play defense. They got to have that intensity, and I see that all the time where, you have guys with the ability, but they don't necessarily have that nature of the beast where, you know, they're going to go out there and get it. I think that's important for, you know, most players, unless you're, you know, that LeBron, that Zion, you know, you got to have something that you bring to the table that, you know, people see you and it just draws them to you.
Right.
I think that's going to be, you know, key for any player that wants to take the next level. And then, I mean, the league, that's so far out there. I mean, I couldn't even tell you how you could prepare for that because there's only, you know, a small percentage, very, very small percentage of people in the world that are going through that. Right. But I do think that kids need to prepare. It's a process. So now I have kids that are 3rd, 4th grade. I'm preparing them for junior high school basketball. And then from junior high school basketball, they have to be prepared for high school basketball. High school, you know, you should be preparing for college, you know, right. and you need different people in your life to prepare you for different things. So the team I have now, I tell them all the time, I tell their parents all the time, I'm only going to coach you until 6th, 7th grade because now I need to give you to someone that's going to prepare you for high school. You know, right. I've developed you. I've been in your ear for these many years. Now you need someone that's going to prepare you for that. And my son the same way. You know, I sent my son this year to another team where he's playing because I don't want him to hear my voice only. I don't want to, you know, do him a disservice by only coaching him, you know, and I want him to go play for someone else and figure it out on his own.
Okay, that's good.
All right, so with you being the head coach of the Illinois Speed, do you think this is something that can become a profession for you, like a full-time profession in the near future?
Yeah, man, I've had a lot of I had a few opportunities to do it. But it's more so it has to be the right situation, and you know where I'm gonna do it, it has to align. You know, whereas not necessarily it's one of those things where you got to substitute, you know, the income at first for the passion. Yeah. But also, you know, if I'm working with someone that has to align in regards to the development of the kids and what's best for the kids. You know, at the end of the day, I do it now for free, you know, and I'm doing it 6-7 days a week, you know, so it's passion for me, and, you know, I want what's best for the kids. I can't get into a situation where I'm doing this for the dollar. Right. So, I mean, if that does become, then I would love that, you know, who likes to get up to go to work every day and not do what they love to do. But at the same token, it has to align, you know, with me, my family, and the kids.
I agree. And, you know, with everything in life, we always looking for, like, forward progression. You know, you never want to be in the same spot for too long. So, ultimately, where do you think you'll end up in your basketball journey?
Yep. Man, if I can have a balance, and I actually have a friend of mine that's in education, you know, I want that balance where I can develop kids, still coach, you know, AAU, but where we can open up something where it's like the kids, they come after school, they get help with their homework, they're getting tutored, and then they go right to training for basketball. So they understand that balance that, you know, I didn't have growing up, and the importance of that, how it works hand in hand. And, you know, you need school before basketball, and, you know, you have to use basketball as a vehicle. At the end of the day, kids now should be playing for scholarships. Right. You know, after that, you know, free schooling, that's, you know, what we need to chase. And then from there, anything additional is a plus. So if I can get into an environment where the kids are getting what they need on the education side, and I'm also developing them on the basketball side, that's, you know, where I see myself, and that's, you know, what I want to do in the near future.
Cool. Sweet. We got a hot take question. Kobe or Jordan?
Jordan.
Why?
Jordan is untouched right now. I mean, again, we talk about the impact that he's had on the game of basketball. We talk about, you know, the numbers. Those speak for themselves. To me, it's not even an argument. It's not even why. It's because it's Mike. He's the GOAT.
I trust you. I believe you on that one. Kobe's nothing but a repeat of him.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
All right, so LeBron or Kobe?
Man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go with Kobe though. I'm gonna have to go with Kobe, just because I think we're still seeing chapters of LeBron. We've seen the book of Kobe. We're still seeing chapters of LeBron. Let's see what the LA LeBron gives us before we, say he's better than Kobe. From a talent wise, yes, he has Kobe, but that player, that career, that book of Kobe, I'm gonna go with Kobe.
Okay.
All right, so this is something we ask all our guests. It's the closing statement. So, in the next 5 to 10 years, what do you think you'll be? Where do you see yourself?
Yeah, man. Like I said, just working with kids when it comes to basketball, education, being there for those that don't have father figures in their lives. That's my passion, and that's where I see myself, whether that brings a dollar in my household or not, that's where I see myself, and that's how, I plan on giving back and living my life, so when I look back and say, what exactly have I accomplished, that's where my mark is, and I can see kids be successful whether it's in basketball or not, as long as they become successful citizens, then I've done my duty.
That's nice.
What's up?
I got one little last question. I got my son, both of my boys. I want them to play ball.
Yep.
But they're into different sports. One is into soccer, which is cool with me. I could take that. The other one's into baseball and football now.
Yep.
But the older one, he's kind of trying to gradually go to basketball. How do I get him into wanting to do it, and then getting into getting a coach and all of that? How do I get all about that?
Man, I think you really gotta start with something like Park District. That's good for him, just to get a feel for it, get around different kids. But then on the side, I think you how old is he?
He's 9.
He's 9. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's still so young. Whereas, again, Park District is good for him just to get that confidence.
Right.
Just learn to compete. And then a few years from now, once he has that will and passion to do it, then I think that's where you kind of move them into, whether it's AAU or working with different people, so that they can kind of bring out everything that he has in him. But I do think he needs to be put in an environment where he can just play and have fun, and it's just something that he's trying.
Right.
Basketball isn't for everyone. But neither is soccer and football, and my son this year, he wanted to play football, and I never wanted him to play, and I always said no, but this year I let him do it. I gave him 3 months off of basketball. Hey, we just going to play football. Let's see how you do with it. And he's successful. They're actually in Florida now playing football, and, he enjoys it. But I do think kids need to try different things, and just
learn find out what they love.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, and you can use basketball as an escape or a break.
Right.
Where I know basketball, I'm extremely tough with my son. Football, I can just sit back, be a parent, and allow him to enjoy it. You make your mistakes. If you do it right, you do it right. You do it wrong, you do it wrong. I'm gonna tell you what I see, and we, go have fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool.
Outside of the basketball talk, but you just were talking about football. Now, the whole Kaepernick thing, it was a big thing. All of us at one point weren't watching football at all. So being a parent, being African American, your son's playing. What was your personal take with that? Did you ever have to have a conversation with him about what was going on as far as the politics within football itself?
Yeah. Nah, man, honestly, I didn't. My son's so young. I mean, he just turned 9, so he really doesn't have a grasp on what's going on. For him, it's just more so the sport. And that's, for me, as a parent and having kids, I want that innocence to stay as long as possible. You just enjoy the sport. The politics, that's going to be there forever. Yeah. You're going to go through it. You're going to see it. So it's going to be a time and place for that. But I think that there are examples out there, where he's also seeing the things LeBron, does in the community. He sees, the voice that he has. And there will be a time where, he may ask the questions about Kaepernick and things of that nature. Right. So I think it is a time and place for it. Now, I don't think it is, but it will be at one point.
Okay, because I just was wondering, as a parent that that has a child that's in football, playing football, on the other side of that. Like, it's easy to just be like, I have a daughter, so my daughter's not thinking about football. But, you know, just being a parent that has a child that's within it is like on the other side of that. Like, you grow up, if you're a fan of football, you know what I mean? But then you're an adult, so you know the other side of it, like you said. You know the politics of it. But I can get why, at the same time, you want to protect and shield your child from those kind of things as well. So I just wanted to ask that question real quick.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand. I mean, it's definitely voided. Those conversations need to take place within our community. I think, you know, kids that are in junior high, high school, you know, they need to understand, like, hey, this is what's out there. You know, when you go to college, you're going to see this stuff, you know, and there's been stories about kids at colleges kneeling and being suspended, you know, but at the same token, you have to weigh what's going on, you know, like, you got to understand, you kneel, I totally respect what you're doing. These are the consequences, you know, and you know, as long as those align, then cool, we rolling with that, you know. But I think that you know, it does need to be a conversation at some point, and you know, there'll be conversations that you'll have with your daughter as well, you know, and she may have those same questions. She's not thinking about football, but she knows the anthem, you know, so she's like, man, what's going on here? This is kind of odd, you know, so.
She ain't thinking about football, but she's thinking about basketball. She likes basketball.
Hey, bring it to me. Bring it to me. How old is your daughter?
She's 12.
12, yeah? Where's she playing at now?
Well, she's not in the States. She's in India.
Okay,
she's
nice. Nice. Cool.
She plays out there.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, Brandon, I think that about covers it, man. B, did you have anything?
Oh, good, man. Good. Appreciate you coming out and doing this interview with us.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate y'all for having me. Big fan of the show. You guys keep up what you're doing. You know, the progression that you guys have had from day one and now, you know, it's definitely seen. So, you know, keep working. Keep working.
Appreciate it. If PJ start liking it, I'm going to send him your way. So you can develop him.
We going to get him right.
All right. I'm trying to make PJ into Zion, man.
I got a big son. I'm trying to get him.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I'm trying to get him there.
Bring PJ and the LJ.
Right. All right, y'all. Well, there you have it. It's another episode of Blvdave TV. I want to thank you for watching, tuning in. I am your host, Old Man Logan.
It's your boy, King B.
It's the Gas Station P.
All right. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
1.